I wanted to develop some intuition about machine learning. So I wanted to start from a model I understood and also a very simple model. And so I teach Excel and fitting data to Excel. So I wanted to start there with a very simple thing. I have some X and Y data that I'm going to fit to a straight line and sort of like recover that very simple process of like a least squared fit to a linear model, um, taking some of the steps seen in machine learning just to get a better feel for them. Okay, so here's the data I'm going to use. It's some old data I happen to have lying around, and it is about the price of a barrel of oil and how the price of a gallon of gas depends on that. So here's over in Excel the data. Here's my X data, barrel of oil and a gallon of gas, and highlighted them and made an insert an XY scatter plot and fit it. Uh, what does Excel like to call it? A trend line. I like to call it a fit line. They also call it regression. And then here is the answer. We have a slope, we have an intercept, we have an R squared, which is some measure of how good the fit is. Okay. So that's sort of that is like a known thing, not really machine learning, but we want to use it as a model and some of the techniques from machine learning to sort of to recover this result. Okay. So one of the first things I tell you to do in machine learning is to sort of, you need to like, I'll call it tame the data. Um, and sort of there are two sort of standard approaches, um, normalizing the data or standardizing the data. Okay. So if you're normalizing the data, then you've determined the minimum and the maximum, and then you scale. I have again X values and Y values, so we will scale the X's by and the Y's, but we will take them, subtract off the minimum, and then divide by the range, the max minus the min. So there's some, so we're shifting the origin with the subtracting the minimum, and we are sort of by dividing by the range, sort of squeezing it down. Um, and sort of so here is that. So here's the original X and Y. I found the minimum and the maximum and the range, and I am normalizing my X and Y data. And then I can do what I did in Excel, find an, make an XY scatter plot and fit it, um, and do the normalized data this time. Okay, so here is my original data, and here is my normalized data, and just the X's and the Y, the domains, the ranges are very sort of controlled by you now. Okay. 0 to 1 in this case. All right. So, and I'm just showing here that I can recover my original model, the model that the original data gave me, just by sort of taking this normalized result and sticking back in these definitions of X and of sort of normalized X and normalized Y to get back to the original X and the original Y, and we recover the original formula. So the normalization of the data makes it sort of tames it, makes it easy to work with, but it's no loss of information. The other sort of standard thing one can do instead of to tame the data, instead of normalizing it, is to standardize it. To in this case, the shift is based on the average, and the sort of squeezing is based on the the standard deviation. So again, so I'll move over here for that one. I had my X's and my Y data. I found the average and the standard deviation. And then subtracted off the average and divided by the standard deviation. And if you sort of have ever studied statistics, you know this as a z-score. So I found the z-score for the x data and the y data. And then again, having x's and y's, we can make a plot. And the sort of nice feature for the standardized, for this very particularly simple, least squared fit to a linear model, one of the nice things about standardizing the data is that the intercept is 0. So it's showing it here, just some rounding error of 2 times 10 to the minus 15th, but again, something very, very small, something practically 0. Okay. And then once again, um, I'm showing that I can take this uh, result of fitting the standardized data, put my definitions back in, and recover the original model. Okay, so then soon we want to get on, but I don't want to do uh, what Excel does to fit the linear model, because my goal here is to develop my intuition a little bit better about um, machine learning. So I want to take that approach of sort of not doing it all at once and just getting the answer, but I don't know, train on data. So they have to have the least squared idea is right here in this sort of SSE that we take uh, our observed uh, Y's and our model our expected Y's. And in this case, I'm working with the standardized data. So I don't have any intercept. I don't have any B here. I just am going to work with the slope times X. So I have this quantity of the difference between my observed and my expected and square them so they're always positive and add them all up. And then I want to vary the M, work with the M, the slope, my parameter to do the best job to get my model to be the observations and the expectations to be on average as close as possible. Okay, so we take the derivative with respect to the slope parameter. And so we had a power, we had a sum that's still there. We have the power law, so the 2 comes out, and then we have that y minus mxi. And then by the chain rule, we have to take the derivative of the inside with respect to the slope. And so that's this minus xi. So this is giving us the sort of direction. And this is actually the direction of ascent, of sort of going up. And when we have multiple parameters, it's sort of more obviously a direction. Here, the direction is just more or less positive or negative. And so, but there's a magnitude and a direction. So is it positive or negative, and how big or small is it? Okay. But we're going to use this slope, this direction, if you're in a higher dimension gradient, to sort of give us how to move, how to improve our model. So we want to, and then to keep the model in sort of from sort of numerically jumping all over the place, we can introduce a learning rate to sort of to move in the right, we find the right direction, but we don't want to move too far in the right direction, can sometimes end up being the wrong direction. So you want to sort of slow it down. And so there's going to be some learning rate factor when I jump over to Excel. So again, I'm just very much beginning to start to sort of establish some intuition on machine language by taking a very simple model with, in this case, one input node, the X's, one output node, the Y's, with no hidden layers. So it's just the simple, well, like one sort of weight parameter to relate them, and but not just jump to the known answer, but to take this sort of training approach and the descent training approach. So, okay. So I'm going to stick with the standardized one because then that simplified it that there was only the slope. Okay. So I have my x, my standardized x, and my standardized y's. And I started the slope at a 0 in this case. And I am taking that, what we just saw there, 2 times y minus mx times, and then I want the negative of this, so I'm just going to say x, not minus x. And that's what I've got here. G with the dollar sign is my slope, so it's E, which is my y, minus G, which is my slope, multiplied by my x, and then multiplied by my x again, no minus sign, because I want a descent rather than an ascent. And so that's all these changes here. I arbitrarily played with, well, I played around with it a bit, but right now it's still sort of fairly arbitrary. I just chose a 0.2 for this sort of learning rate. And so I took each of these points, each of these things from the points, and multiplied them by this rate. And then down here, I decided to take an average of all those. Again, I don't want to be going point by point and having one point pull me in too much in one direction and another point pull me in too much in two directions. But I don't have enough data. Sometimes in training they'll break the data into sort of subsets. My data was 2. I only had 10 points, so my data was too small to really seriously break into subsets. So I just sort of did it all and did an average. And then down here, I took what my slope was to determine these and this proposed change in slope to get a new slope. And then I'm just going to sort of iterate by hand for a little bit. So here's my new slope after one sort of iteration. So 306. I won't go too many decimal places to get it going fast. And now, if my slope is 0.306, it's suggesting my slope should be 502. If my slope is 502, it suggests 628. And now 708. And I should be heading towards the slope of 851. Well, I'm already sort of bored with this. So let me go over to this sheet where I have it just all repeated again, starting the slope here at 0. But in Excel allows you, it's often something you don't want to do, but you can do it if you want. You can have your formulas. Oh, I had enabled it. I forgot to disable it. But under File, Options, Formulas, you can say if you want to allow a formula to iterate. Now, it's not set up to iterate except me by hand. It's not set up to automatically update, but now I am allowing it to iterate if I set it up to iterate. And the way I'll do that is to say here in my slope is equal to my new slope. And I'm allowing it to iterate. So it'll sort of jump to the answer after, it had some limit on the number of iterations. So here it is at 0.85, basically 851. I'm down to the fourth decimal places where I'm differing. And that you see here, 0.851 is the slope from the fitting. Okay, so, but that is the idea that I just wanted to recover, take a problem I knew, I understand, I think pretty well, fitting data, doing a least squared fit to a linear model. Um, but one of the lessons of uh, data modeling and machine learning is to sort of tame the data before you start working with it. So I showed there are two: normalization, standardization. For this particular problem, standardization, I think, ends up to be a little bit nicer because it eliminates one of the fitting parameters, the slope, and then taking this idea of the descent, but slowing down the descent and sort of iterating over the data and moving and improving your model. That's all these uh, machine learning things do, is they have very elaborate models with lots of parameters, but they want to they want to find the best set of parameters. So this is the game. Now again, this is a very simple problem, so you could jump straight to the answer, which is what Excel does when I ask it to fit the data straight up. But we can take this iterative procedure and you sort of use either different parts of the data or just the data over and over again to sort of tune these parameters to be the best. And then just a feature of Excel allowed me to automate that. All right, that's what I wanted to show in this one. Thanks for your attention.